Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to pull out the key insights from the sources you need to know about. And today, we're really diving into something that feels, well, pretty central to 2025, this growing global trust deficit. It's a feeling I think most of us recognize, right? That sort of background skepticism. It seems to come from everywhere, misinformation, those deep fakes that look incredibly real, AI-generated content popping up, and let's be honest, also quite a few unfulfilled promises from corporations. So what we want to do today is unpack how public relations PR is going through this massive change, really radical. We're seeing this shift away from, just managing perception towards building something much more solid, actual verifiable proof. We're going to explore why the old tricks, the spin, just don't work anymore. In fact, they often backfire. Look at the new strategies brands are trying out, this whole new era people are calling transparency PR. It's changing everything from media relations to influencer marketing. We'll touch on some fascinating developments, like brands basically acting like journalists.
And AI playing a surprisingly big role in fact-checking, which is maybe not what you'd first expect.
Yeah, the really crucial thing to grasp here is how fundamentally audience expectations have shifted. People just aren't taking statements at face value anymore. Not at all. They don't just want to hear what a brand says it's doing. They demand to see it. They want evidence. And this isn't like a passing phase. It feels like a permanent change in what consumers expect, what they demand before they'll trust anyone.
Okay, so that leads right into the core issue then. Why are those classic PR tactics, the carefully managed spin, trying to deflect criticism, why are they blowing up in brands' faces now? It feels almost instant sometimes, doesn't it? Social media, journalists, even just regular consumers, they seem so quick to jump on any attempt to gloss over problems. Any misstep gets put under this intense microscope almost immediately.
Oh, absolutely. And the reason spin fails now isn't just a simple backlash. It's about a power shift, really. Reputation isn't crafted behind closed doors in the PR department anymore. It's forged out in the open, online, where literally anyone can check a claim, cross-reference it, pull up counter evidence. So trying to obscure things or, deflect, that can explode almost instantly, which naturally raises a big question for brands. If you can't control the narrative in the old way, what do you do instead? What fills that gap?
And that seems to be where this idea of show me storytelling comes in. It's really becoming the benchmark. We're seeing it in the source examples. Brands aren't just saying things. They're offering up detailed case studies, real behind-the-scenes looks at how they operate. We're even seeing founders admitting mistakes, really detailed product transparency. Like imagine a company actually sharing the carbon footprint data for its products, or mapping out its whole supply chain, or even explaining why they price things the way they do, step by step. It's these concrete, checkable details that build trust now, much more than some clever slogan.
And a really powerful aspect of this is what's being called radical disclosure. It's a deliberate strategy. The smartest brands, or perhaps the bravest, are proactively talking about their own flaws. They're discussing failures and, crucially, what they're doing to fix them. They're actually earning trust by showing humility, showing accountability. What's fascinating and maybe a bit counterintuitive is how vulnerability turns into a strength here. In this climate of deep skepticism, maybe the only real competitive edge left is just being proactively, brutally honest.
Right. And talking about proof and checking claims, where does technology fit in? You mentioned AI earlier. It sounds like it's more than just AI creating text or images.
Exactly. It's becoming this really critical tool for fact-checking, verification.
Yeah.
We're starting to see AI applications being used almost as standard practice. Things like AI tools that audit a company's public statements for accuracy or trace information back to its original source, verify PR claims automatically. It's like having a huge crowdsourced audit team working instantly.
That's interesting.
But that also brings up a really important ethical point around AI. As AI gets better and better at creating messages that sound human, people are going to they're demanding clear signals. Is this human-made or machine-made? If we don't have that transparency, clear labeling about AI's involvement, well, that trust deficit we started with, that's just going to get worse. We won't know what or who to believe.
So this changes how PR teams measure success too, right?
Right.
The old metrics like impressions, they don't really capture trust. So what does quantifying trust actually look like? This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
The focus seems to be shifting dramatically. It's less how many eyeballs saw this, and much more how much genuine trust did we build. And new metrics are popping up to try and capture this. Things like tracking credibility signals, maybe how fast a brand corrects bad information about itself, or developing authenticity scores based on how consistent their actions are with their words, and really trying to measure long-term loyalty that comes from that deep trust. It's about trying to put a number on something that felt intangible before.
Right. And the bigger picture with these new metrics is it's not just about chasing numbers for the sake of it. It's about building something sustainable, real brand value, and cultivating relationships with customers that last because they're built on something solid. Trust is becoming, in this new environment, the actual currency, the measurable currency.
Okay, so given all this pressure and this shift, how are companies actually adapting? Like, what practical steps are they taking?
Well, we're seeing some concrete changes mentioned in the sources.
Yeah.
Companies are creating dedicated transparency hubs on their websites, for example, places
Right.
where they just lay out data. Some are offering journalists almost unprecedented access to internal information, data sets.
Wow.
And maybe the most striking thing is this idea of integrating internal truth teams. These aren't just fact checkers, they're often cross-department groups whose whole job is to verify every public statement before it goes out, to ensure data is accurate, and even sometimes to prepare disclosures before something potentially negative comes out. It's a really proactive stance.
That makes sense.
And you can see why this whole shift is so significant, why it's newsworthy. In a world where basically any claim can be checked by anyone with a phone in seconds, telling the truth isn't just the right thing to do anymore. It's absolutely strategic. It's essential for survival. The best communications teams now are focused on rebuilding trust, often from the ground up. And they're doing it through honesty, through admitting vulnerability, and through just being radically visible and accountable. It's about consistent, authentic engagement, not just reacting when things go wrong.
So as you're listening to this, maybe think about what this means for you as a consumer. How are your own expectations of brands of organizations likely changing? Or maybe they already have. What kind of proof will you start demanding? What will you need to see, not just hear, before you offer your trust? So, to quickly recap, we've really explored a fundamental change in PR today, this big move away from managing perceptions towards building trust through things that can actually be verified through proof and often radical transparency.
Yeah, and it's worth remembering this isn't just about PR departments or marketing. It reflects a much broader shift in society, doesn't it? It's about how all of us, collectively, are changing the ways we demand information, how we check it, how we decide what's credible.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. In this new landscape of demanded transparency and increasingly clever AI-generated content, how might your own personal truth teams, the ways you personally fact-check, the methods you use to verify information, how might those need to evolve? And how will that evolution change what you expect, what you demand from the brands and organizations you interact with every single day?